Hi there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the Death Guard from the Dark Imperium box, and man am I stoked. Now obviously these aren't the newer models here, these are my older model Death Guards. They're still based on the older smaller round bases there, not the 32 mils. But what I wanted to do was do a quick review of what I thought was really cool and interesting about the Death Guard models from before, and how they carried that style over to the newer ones as well, which is pretty solid. Now, obviously, we've got this, kind of World War I trenchers style feeling to them. They got lots of these gas masks and kind of the pointy helmets and all that. And you'll also notice that they've got a bit of a trend that goes on with them in the sense that everything is kind of either rotted away or is really kind of just this rapid growth. So you'll see that obviously we've got these horns piercing through the tops of helmets, and the armor is kind of molded into skin here. There's this rotting type of flesh. So I tried to carry across that notion of you don't know where the armor ends and the rotting demonic flesh begins. So loving the old models. But what we're going to do now is let's take a look at some of the newer Death Guard models. And that brings us to our Death Guard models themselves. Now, the new models in the Death Guard kit are gory and awesome and just massively packed with tons and tons of details. So I'm going to go one by one. You can see everything from the skull motif here in the back that's kind of grown out, and a lot of this kind of overgrown instant chaos conversion, with all these tentacles and all that. You can see the gas mask elements here in the Plague Champion as well. The Plague Sword is right out of the Demon Sprue, which is cool. And of course all these skull motifs in here, spikes and kind of tendrils everywhere. Really cool. Even little heads just kind of hanging off there on chains. Nice and solid. And again, that just kind of that outburst of Nurgle-y awesomeness with the horns and all that, and the big plague fly kind of sitting up top there as well. Now I'm going to keep going through the Nurgle models here because obviously the Death Guard have just so many unique poses, so it's pretty solid. Another one of our Death Guard guys, the basic soldier, he's got the Plague Sword, of course. He's got his bolter in there. You can even see the nice little details of the clip taped to the other clip there. So kind of this fast, as you're moving up, you got lots and lots of ammo because they're kind of this dauntless moving forward. Lots of tubes coming out and all of that, and of course the mutated face echoing that maw in the body and the face as well. The horns coming up and out and just kind of bursting out of the armor. And of course one of the things that's really interesting as well is the Blight grenades. Like, we haven't really seen those modeled on Death Guard models before, and you can see that they've got them like the old school German hand grenades, but they made them out of skulls. You'll see they've made them out of like heads, things like that. So really cool. One of our other guys here, we've got, again, just a regular Plague Marine, but he's got this furnace on the back, which of course you can imagine is just spewing toxins out. It really adds that kind of steampunk kind of look to it here. Lots of cables and, this nice kind of exhaust port up here for the old school backpack. And again, very true to the old Death Guard models. Lots of hosing everywhere, bindings of cloth everywhere, and of course the Blight grenades. Most of the kind of divots in the armor come in threes as well, and then we get this kind of rotting, exposed, rusted out armor as well. Alright, we're still working our way through here. We've got another guy here, he's kind of on the march, which you don't see a lot. He also brings in the sensors, and with the fumes and everything kind of coming out, and the bell motifs are all through here. You've got a bell kind of rocking off the hook here, and you've got another bell on the chest. And of course different looking bolters, and they've got that wooden finish, which I kind of echo in a lot of my Death Guard stuff as well. I try and bring in as much of that wooden finish as possible. Again, lots of the horns kind of bursting out of the armor, and of course little bits of tentacles here and there. And of course the back is just all bells, so these guys running through the field, dong dong dong, that kind of the death bells ringing type thing. Next up here is another guy here. He's swinging he's chucking out a Blight grenade as he's moving up, and lots of echoing of the Mark IIIs. You can tell a lot of these designs are really based on the Mark III armor, which is fantastic. The big respirator theme, the kind of googly eyes in here as well. The bolter that's both wrapped and has the wooden wooden kind of handle there at the bottom. Really, really looking good. And of course, the Death Guard, as opposed to just using the fly motif, you can see here that they've got the designs carried over from lots of the different elements. Here's a Blight grenade hanging off the back. There's a frag grenade there, and then the Blight grenade is like done up with a head, so this upside down zombie head. So tons and tons of character. Even on the backpack, we've got the 3 different types of vents and all that. Now, they did something rather ingenious, is they actually brought in these 2 guys, and you'll see that they're based off of the same frame. So if we look at the back, the backpacks are very similar. It's the same part off the same sprue, but when you turn them around, they actually gave 2 kind of unique fronts or frontages to both of these guys. So they recycled the back part, the backpack, the plague sword, all of that. The arm was part of that part as well, with the horn coming up. However, you don't even notice. They've got different heads, unique heads. They've got different weapons, of course. You've got the plasma gun here. You got the extra chainmail coming off the side. And on here, they just use it like a cloak. So really, really effective use of those models. Again, the horns that are in there, you know, that almost bell-shaped head with the maw inside. Cool and different and solid and unique. So loving the models. I mean, the Death Guard models are just so top shelf. You know, the Nurgle symbol kind of tassel hanging off the back, and you know, the plague sword just kind of wired up underneath the backpack. Backpack's got lots of tubes, and of course, you know, multiple vents, all that. Really, really happy with the new Plague Marine models. Really nice, really solid. Moving on now to the Pox Walkers. I really wanted to kind of, you know, show them all at once, but they've got so much character, and I wanted to make note of something, the fact that they've almost got their own theme to them as well. So the main leader of the Pox Walkers here, he's got kind of this, they did it up in the lab coat colors on the box, and I think I'm absolutely going to echo that as well. He's got his big comic booky Harlequin-y circus hammer as well, which is pretty neat. And if you want to look, you'll see all these little details, like the little bell, and of course the little Nurgle fly piece of jewelry here. Of course, his guts bursting out with all the gooiness. You know, he's got a horn on his head, and he's got this, you know, like wonderful grin. But even little details like, you know, the busted up robe kind of rotting away. Really solid. Next up, we've got Mr. Broken Arm guy, and he's kind of got this weird kind of zombie look to him. But you'll actually see he's got an extra limb growing out here as well, and again, very much Nurgle, just this kind of, you know, this rapid transformation, ripping guys apart, all these little poxes and holes and pustules and all of that. One of the things I'm really enjoying is kind of what did these guys do before. And we can see with this guy here, he actually had a mask on, and you can see he's got, you know, some military gear and stuff as well. So obviously he came from somewhere. Looks like very Cadian. And of course he's got a hammer rocking out here, which is kind of held on by a hand and kind of held on by tentacles as well. Clearly there's a hole in his oxygen tank, so he might have got a little bit of mutation in there that way. But lots and lots of different dimensions, and you can see, like, you know, leaning forward, and I mean, for multi-piece kind of press fit models, they really come across as really well animated, as if you put these together yourself, which is cool. This guy's one of my favorite guys. He kind of reminds me of a big Nurgling, and you can see, of course, his foot. He goes from a barefoot on one side, and then he has this overgrown kind of tentacle in here as well. Just these massive mutations. But what I thought was really cool about this one is he's got this bionic arm. This kind of cool piece that, you know, you can rust up and really add a lot of character to your guy with. And he's just a happy dude. You know, he's all tentacly all over the place and just smiling as a pig in poop. It's awesome. This guy over here, of course, he looks kind of cool. He's got lots of these different spikes, and he's echoed, like, he's even got spikes in his spikes. So he's Mr. Spiky Pants, got a spike on his head. Really kind of neat and cool and interesting. And again, lots of gear and pouches. He's got a pistol holster, so I'm guessing he was ex-military here, which is cool. And finally, we move on to this guy here. Well, not finally, but I mean, one of the guys that I really liked. Again, he's got, you know, kind of the air vent or oxygen tank here, or breathing apparatus. And it looks like it failed in keeping him safe, which is pretty neat. So again, you know, his arm's all twisted and busted and broken, kind of echoing what was going on there before. You know, missing a finger on the deal, all of that stuff. Cool, lots and lots of detail and you know, cool and interesting things to paint. You'll even see he's got his little pressure gauge in here, like just so much detail on these guys. Now, the sad part is there's only 10 of them, and then they duplicate it. But with the 20 guys walking around, I'm actually going to mix these in with my Sigmar Plague Zombies, or my zombies as well, and just kind of flesh them out a little bit. Some of the rules are really cool. I mean, they kill somebody and you get another dude. It's pretty awesome. And of course, you'll see some of these little spines and tines coming out of the back here. Really neat, very similar to the Nurgle fly spawn, which I think is pretty cool as well. This looks like this was a piece of a flamer, and the guy just pulled the tube out and went with it from there. So just all these really neat improvised weapons. Coming up to my favorite guy, but these two guys here are kind of neat as well, in the sense that they've got these, you know, kind of bolters and rifles and shotguns, but they're not even using them to shoot. They're just kind of broken up, you know, pieces. They pulled the, you know, the firing tube out, tied it all up, and now all of a sudden this is your close combat weapon. So pretty neat. He's got the bloated tummy, the classic Nurgle bloated tummy. The pants are kind of cool. You can even see the seams on the pants. So millions of detail. Lots of the blisters are popped on his back, and he's got all these little, you know, plugins in here as well. So you can kind of imagine what he was doing before. Really sweet. And then second last guy, again, he's got the he's got kind of the respirator here, which obviously didn't help him out much. He's got the cool kind of crazy guy goggles and smile, which is neat. Spikes driven into his armor here, and it looks like a Cadian type plate as well on this guy. Kind of neat. He's got his, you know, knee pads. He's got his wound up or bound up, you know, boots in here. Really cool and interesting looking guys, and I'm really looking forward to painting these ones up. So lots of straps and kind of visual interest in here. I mean, after we've kind of done the skin, and you know, it could be pretty bland otherwise. And then of course my favorite guy of all of them, the last guy here, he's the crazy mechanic, which is fantastic. He's got this big huge pipe wrench with a spike tied into it here, looking really good. He's even got like a little necklace with the little amulet with the Nurgle symbol on it. He's got the bloated tummy in here. He's got, you know, all these kind of hooks on his belt for all the tools, and really solid bunch of models. So that's the 10, and the 10 different poses, and they're duplicated. So like I said, you get 20 of them in the box, which is ridiculously good. So much plastic to play with here. Now, where the detail really starts to come out in the new Death Guard models is, of course, the characters. So the next character we're looking at here, or the first character, I guess, is the Malignant Plague Caster. And the guy is just huge. He's mounted on a 32mm base, which is awesome. But you've got all the major Nurgle pieces and elements kind of coming in. You got the bloating of the stomach and the blisters coming through. You got that maw kind of look, this shriveled face, you know, and the kind of cowling and robe going over top. He's got his like this corrupted staff here, and it's all twisted and gnarly. So it looks kind of like it's kind of dead and a piece of dead wood, but it's got so much life and thorns and all those different elements that are in there as well. I like the fact that there's lots and lots of, like, loads of animation going on with this guy. Just watching these elements of his robe here just flying off with these little sensors at the end as he's marching forward and just blasting off this gross, disgusting magic forward, you know. So lots and lots of opportunities to do some color. I'm going to really enjoy painting this up in this cool kind of mystical, ethereal, plaguey kind of wind, which is fantastic. In looking at his shoulder pad here, there's actually the 3 flies making up his shoulder pad, which is a little bit different and unique from what we're used to. And of course, these robes, these tattered bits of his robe or banner that coming off the back, I mean, totally looks like the plague fly, totally looks like the Nurgle, you know, kind of fly symbol here. So, you know, you want to attach that little bit of decoration, you bet, just throw 3 spikes in there and you're good to go. Fantastic model. Looking forward to painting him. He's oozing with grossness in here, and even at the bottom of it all, we've got this little Nurgle tassel. So, you know, you can see it up on his knees, everything. Really strong model here. Tons and tons of animation. Really looking forward to painting this guy up, and he'll definitely be replacing my hammered together Nurgle Sorcerer. Next up is our Noxious Blight Bringer with his big honking huge like cursed plague bell here. Of course you can see the bell motif echoed constantly through this guy. He's got all the sensors, spewing out plague as he walks along. He's got these massive overgrown horns that have come out just to hold this huge dong, dong, dong kind of bell. As you imagine being the Imperial Guardsman hearing this bell slowly moving its way towards you, and no matter what you do, you can't kill these guys. Even Nurgling little buddy here, he's got a little bell, so he's got a little higher pitch, so they can maybe they can work together. And of course, he's got his handheld bell in here as well. The big rotting robe coming off is pretty cool. You can see definitely they've borrowed elements from the fantasy side. These the 3 slits showing the mask, nice and ominous and kind of inhuman, like there's nothing left. Of course, he's rocking the old school plasma pistol, which is really, really sweet. Love the look and feel of these guys. Very Mark III, but really, really interesting visually. Lots of bell motifs everywhere, and everywhere you look, you see something new and interesting and visual. So, really looking forward to painting these guys up. And then finally, we've got this massive model, this Lord of Contagion. Really interesting. We've got this Plague Reaper, this kind of carrying on the Mortarion kind of look and feel, but we've got these grindy blades just in here just to get your your victim's head caught in there, you name it. Of course, it's all twisted and warped, which is really, really of interest. The plague sensors are just firing off all kinds of noxious fumes as he marches up the battlefield. Now you can also see in here the sensors hanging off. He's got this wonderful multi-layered back robe with chainmail, again something that recurs all the way through the sets of all the models. And I mean, it wouldn't be a Lord if he wasn't like stomping on Nurglings as he went. So there's these crushed Nurglings underneath, getting stomped underfoot as he's moving forward. Loving the head. He's got this nice kind of jagged knife for a face. Really brutal, really awesome. And of course, even the clips holding on the robe at the back are these, kind of nurgly, bumpy, plague sensory, or, he's got the 3 little mini skulls in here as well. Just so much detail. Even at the top, his banner up here, you see skulls, and you see, the Nurgle demons, and these kind of lords of chaos all coming together to really make a really interesting and distinguished model. I mounted him up on some cork here just to give him a little bit extra height. I've been doing that with my leaders lately just to give a little bit of extra kind of gravitas on the field. So pretty darn spectacular. Awesome model. And last but not least, we have our fetid Bloat drone. This guy is, of course, very similar to the Forge World plague drones that they had out there as well. Really kind of cool, this carapace here that goes this kind of hunched forward type of carapace. It's got these kind of rotting out, busted up fans, these rotors keep it up. And of course, just beautiful model. Well, I mean, gross model, but that's kind of its own beauty, right? You'll see you got the plague spitters here down at the bottom. It's got this big probe in the front to poison dudes, and of course this single kind of very nurgly eye. And you'll see, of course, that it does echo, some of the helmets and faces and domes of the Nurgle models that are out through there as well. In the back, it's all organic, whereas the front it's all armored. So you got this rotting underbelly of the beast here, the odd random tentacle kind of hanging down, and again, that's all echoed with the mechanical tendrils just forming the base of the model here, but just getting dragged behind, and just these forgotten gross things running around, just consuming and sucking the lifeblood out of guys, and then converting it over to poisons and then spitting it out at the enemies as they come. So that concludes the review of the Death Guard models from the Dark Imperium box. I am so stoked. I know the Primaris Marines, a lot of people are really digging on those, but oh man, the Nurgle models are going to be fantastic to paint. And of course, I'll be doing a series of painting tutorials on those guys, but man, the new models, GW's completely hit it out of the park. Again, the Primaris ones are nice, they're solid, they're kind of stalwart, they look fantastic, but the level of detail on these guys, the Plague Guard guys, are, the Death Guard guys are unreal. So if you liked the video, obviously obviously hit the like button. If you are looking to see more videos just like this, or battle reports, we do the odd PC playthrough, things like that. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. I hope it was of value, and we'll catch you soon.